Hello everyone, this is Divya working as assistant professor in Triple department at St. Peter's Engineering College. So in the last lectures, we already seen how to represent the poles and zeros on the S-plane individually, right? So in this lecture, I want to discuss about how to represent both the poles and zeros in the same S-plane, okay? So for explaining this, here I am sharing a PPT. So for drawing the pole zero plot, the diagram obtained by locating all the poles and zeros of a particular transfer function of a control system should be considered, and that plane is called as a pole zero plot. That plot is called as a pole zero plot. That means when you are considering all the poles of a control system and all the zeros of a control system on the same S plane, that S plane, that means that graph can be represented as a pole zero graph. Already you know the poles are represented with a cross symbol and zeros are represented with a circle symbol or else a filled circle, right? And coming to the S plane, here S is nothing but sigma plus j omega. Sigma plus j omega. Sigma is the real part and j omega is a imaginary part. So that's why we are replacing the y-axis with j omega and negative y-axis with minus j omega and the positive x-axis with plus sigma and the negative x-axis with minus sigma. Okay, so on the x-axis we are representing the real terms, right? On the positive sigma axis we have to represent plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on up to infinity value you can represent. And coming to the negative sigma graph, you have to represent minus 1 minus 2 and so on minus infinity you can represent. And coming to the j omega, what is the indication of j omega? Those are the imaginary values, right? So from the bottom side you have to represent plus j omega plus 2j omega plus 3j omega and so on plus j infinity, right? So in that way you can represent the values on the plus j omega axis. That means the positive imaginary axis. And coming to the negative imaginary axis, you can represent it as minus j omega, minus 2j omega, minus 3j omega, and so on up to minus infinity as shown here. You can observe here, if you consider, we will do a problem now. So from that you are able to understand how you can represent both the poles and zeros on a single S plane. Okay, so if you consider the previous problem which we explained in the last video, so here what is the given transfer function in the problem, that is g of s is equal to s into s plus 2 into s plus 4 divided by s into s plus 3 into s plus 4, right? So for this particular transfer function you can obtain the poles and zeros. What are the values of poles here you obtain? Those are 0, minus 2 and minus 4, right? And what are the values of zeros we obtain here? Those are those are here, sorry, the poles are 0, minus 2 and minus 4 and zeros are 0, minus 2 and minus 4. That means here you have to consider these values, and the poles are 0, minus 3 and minus 4. So here these are the zeros, right? On the S plane you know how to represent the zeros. The zeros must be represented with a circle symbol like this. And how to represent the poles? The poles must be represented with a cross symbol like this. So now combine these two S planes. By combining these two S planes you can draw only single S plane representing all the poles and zeros on a single S plane. So let us consider a S plane having all the values. Here I didn't represent the positive sigma values. Why? Because we didn't obtain any positive real values, right? So that's why I didn't represent the positive real values on this plus sigma plane. Here I consider a white slide, right? But when you are going to draw the S plane, you have to consider a graph sheet and you have to partition it into 4 different quadrants, right? So in that way you have to draw this S plane on your graph sheet. And coming to here, I considering the first pole as 0, so that's why here I represented a cross mark. And the second pole is minus 3. At minus 3 also I have to represent it with minus cross mark, and at minus 4 I have to represent again with cross mark. So these are the poles, right? And coming to zeros, what are the zeros here? Those are the first value 0, that is represented with a circle, and the second 0 value is minus 2, that is also represented with a circle, and the third value is minus 4, that should be also represented with a circle. So in this way you can represent all the poles and zeros in a control system or in a transfer function in a single S-plane. Okay, so this is the representation of poles and zeros of a transfer function in a S-plane. After this concept, we will see what is meant by characteristic equation of a particular control system. So first of all, what is meant by characteristic equation? To know that one, we have to go with the definition, right? So that means if you are equating the denominator of a transfer function to 0, that equation is nothing but that is called as characteristic equation. That means if I given the transfer function value as s divided by s into s plus 2 into s plus 6, then the denominator is nothing but s into s plus 2 into s plus 6, right? If you are equating this denominator with the value 0, that combined equation can be called as the characteristic equation. So in general, what is meant by characteristic? That equation can be used to determine the performance of the control system, right? So this equation is called as characteristic equation, and the characteristic equation can be defined as the denominator of the control system should be equal to 0, then that equation can be considered as the characteristic equation. And coming to the general characteristic equation, that means basic characteristic equation, you have to consider the equation like this. Why I am taking this equation? Why? Because when I am explaining about the transfer function equation previously, see here what is the representation of the input signal and output signal? These are the polynomial equations which are represented in terms of b and a, right? So here what is the denominator? That is s power n plus an into s power n minus 1 plus and so on plus an, right? Now what I have to do, I have to equate this denominator to 0. So that's why here I considered the equation of the polynomial as s power n plus an into s power n minus 1 plus a n minus 2 into s power n minus 2 plus and so on plus a n, which should be equal to 0. Here you have to consider 0 also. Okay. And coming to the transfer function, here what I am doing, I am giving a transfer function, and we have to obtain the poles, zeros and pole zero plot and characteristic equation for that particular transfer function. So for that reason, here I am doing So here you have to determine the poles, zeros and pole zero plot should be drawn and the characteristic equation should be obtained. Okay. So what you have to do to determine these poles, you have to consider this denominator equation and you have to equate this equation to be 0. Right. So let us consider s into s minus 2 into s plus 5 into s square plus 7s plus 12 should be equal to 0. So how many s terms existing in this polynomial equation which is given in the denominator? If you multiply all these s, what is the power of the s which is obtained here? Let us see. S into s is nothing but s square. Here this s square term can be multiplied with the third term s plus 5. So here I can obtain s cube, and this s cube can be multiplied with again s square in the fourth term. What will be the output here? That is s cube into s square. If the denominators, that means if the bases are same, then the numerators, that means the suffixes can be added, right? If you consider the equation a power x into a power y, then what will be the output there? A power x plus y, right? So here if you consider all these s terms coefficient, that means what is the power of s which you are obtaining here? This is 1, 2, 3, and 3 plus 2 is 5, right? So what is the power of s value here? That is 5. So in the denominator, what is the maximum s power value here? 5. So how many number of poles values you have to obtain? Total 5 number of poles you have to obtain for the given particular transfer function. So let us see how to determine those pole values by using the denominator of the given transfer function. What you have to do? You have to equate this equation to 0, right? By equating this equation to 0, here all the terms are multiplying with the bracket shown here. What we are able to understand? We can understand that here every term is multiplying with each other, right? So here I can consider s is equal to 0 directly, like this. Here I shown s is equal to 0, right? After that one I can consider s plus 2 is equal to 0, that means s is equal to minus 2 I can obtain. And what is the next term? That is s plus 5. That means s plus 5 is equal to 0 means I have to consider s is equal to minus 5, right? So these are the three values which we obtained till now, but we have to determine other two values for the poles, because here the power indicates the value of 5. So till now we determine only three values for the S. So what are the other two values? How we can determine the other two values for the S? By considering the last term, that means s square plus 7s plus 12. By equating this term to 0, you can obtain the roots of this term, right? You can obtain the roots of this term. You know how to determine the roots of a second order equation, right? How we can determine? For example, if there exists ax square plus bx plus c, then what will be the roots of the equation? Those are nothing but minus b plus or minus root b square minus 4ac by 2a, right? Here a is the coefficient of x square and b is the coefficient of x and c is a constant value. So like that, by substituting in that equation also, you can obtain the roots of this particular equation. Here the power is 2 for the equation. So you can obtain two values for the s, right? Previously you obtained three values for the s. So here you are obtaining two values for the s. So total how many values you determine till now? Total 5 values we determine. What are the total number of values we have to determine? Those are 5, right? So till now we determine the total number of poles which are given for the transfer function. But now what we have to do? Our first aim is completed. What is our first aim? We have to determine the poles, and the second aim is zeros, right? So what are the fourth and fifth poles for the given equation? Those are here I determine, like s plus 3 into s plus 4 is nothing but s square plus 7s plus 12, right? Here that means I can equate s plus 3 with 0 and s plus 4 with 0, right? So from these equations I can obtain s is equal to minus 3 and s is equal to minus 4. So finally, what are the poles we obtain for this one? That is s is equal to 0, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 and minus 5, right? And next we have to determine the zeros. That is our first aim, right? That is the next aim. So to determine the zeros, what is the condition we know already? We have to equate the numerator term to 0. To determine the poles, we have to equate the denominator to 0. To determine the zeros, we have to equate the numerator to 0, right? So let us consider the numerator of the transfer function should be equal to 0. What is the numerator given to you here? That is k into s plus 6, right? In the transfer function, they given k into s plus 6 as the numerator. So here you have to consider k into s plus 6 as the numerator. By considering k into s plus 6, you have to consider it as 0. So you have to equate this numerator to 0. So k into s plus 6 is equal to 0, you can write. Here k is nothing but that is a constant value. So by moving this constant into RHS side, what will happen? 0 divided by anything, that means 0. So you can write it directly as s plus 6 equal to 0. From this equation you can obtain s is equal to minus 6, right? Here is there any other 0 exist for the given transfer function? No. Why? Because there exists only s power is 1 here in the given transfer function. So there exists only one 0 in the transfer function, right? So here what is the value of 0? We obtain s is equal to minus 6 is the 0 value we obtain for the particular transfer function, right? So till now what we done? We determine the poles and we determine the zeros. What is our third aim here? In the question they given, plot the pole 0 representation, right? You have to represent the poles and zeros on the s-plane. So for that purpose I have to take the s-plane by considering the sigma and minus sigma, j omega and minus j omega. You have to consider it on the graph sheet only, okay? So here what are the poles we obtained? 0, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4 and minus 5. So at all the values of poles, that means you have to represent this one on the negative sigma axis only. Why? Because these are the real values, right? On the positive sigma axis also you are having the real values, but we obtain the values as negative. That's why I am going with the LHS side. Okay, what is our first pole? That is s is equal to 0. So at 0 I am putting a cross mark, and at s minus 2, s is equal to minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5 also I am putting the same cross marks. These cross marks represent the poles representation on the s-plane. And coming to 0, what is the 0 we obtained here? That is minus 6, right? So at minus 6 only I am representing it with a circle or else filled circle. Okay, with any color you can represent the poles and zeros. So this is the representation of pole 0 plot. And what is the fourth aim here we have to do? We have to obtain the characteristic equation, right? What is the definition of the characteristic equation? That one I described earlier. A characteristic equation is nothing but we have to equate the denominator of the transfer function equation with 0. That is nothing but characteristic equation, right? So here what is the characteristic equation you can obtain? You have to equate this denominator with 0 and you have to simplify the equation, right? That means you have to obtain the equation having a power of 5. So for that reason, what I am doing here, I am considering the denominator separately, and by considering the denominator, I am multiplying all the values of s. So what will happen here? So by analyzing it, multiplying s into s plus 2 into s plus 5 into s square plus 7s plus 12 equal to 0, right? Here what I am doing, first I am multiplying s plus 2 with s plus 5. Then what is the value? S square plus 7s plus 10. And what is the remaining value? S square plus 7s plus 12 into the first value, that is s. Now I am multiplying this s with the first term. That means this will becomes s into s square, that means s cube plus 7s square plus 10s into the remaining same term we have to write. Now what we have to do, we have to multiply this first term with the second term. So here by multiplying s cube into s square, what will be the output here? That is s power 5, right? So in that way you have to multiply these two terms, then finally we will get a equation having so many number of values. By simplifying that equation, finally we can obtain a characteristic equation having a polynomial equation. That means what is the value of s power here? That is the maximum power of s is 5. It means it will have 5 poles. That's why we represented 5 poles on the pole 0 plot. Is it clear? So this is about the characteristic equation of the particular given transfer function. Is our aim is completed now? Yes, we completed the determination of pole 0 plot we drawn, and the characteristic equation also we obtained, right? So we determine all the quantities which are given in the question itself, right? So this is the determination of the transfer function. That means from the transfer function we determine the pole 0 plot, and also we determine the characteristic equation, right?